your weekday cup of the word here on Friday. We look at Job chapter 2, and Satan escalates things here with Job. Job has lost all of his stuff, all of his possessions and property, as well as his children, his heritage. And now, in chapter 2, God has another conversation with Satan. He says, have you considered Job? Still, Job has shown total and complete integrity, and so God still elevates him and says, look at this man. Have you looked at him lately, at what kind of man he is? And Satan brings up another argument. He says, oh, skin for skin. Meaning, he would change, he would stop serving you, and he would lose all of that integrity and faithfulness if you hurt him. A man will do anything to save his own skin. And so God says, okay, but you can't kill him. Satan, you go out and you hurt him, but you can't kill him. And so Satan goes out and gives him boils, painful, painful boils on his body from the crown of his head to the sole of his foot. His whole body's covered in them. And he sits out on a trash heap, essentially, with old pot scraps, potsherds, just little broken pieces of pottery. After all, he doesn't have any money anymore. He's lost all his wealth, and he scrapes at these. This is the only kind of thing he can do to comfort himself, is to kind of scrape the boils, and they keep coming, and it's just horribly painful. And his wife finally turns to him, and she says, just curse God. Just curse God and die. Do you still hang to this integrity that you have? Just let it all be done. And he rebukes his wife. And he says, look, God gave me good things, so if God gives me bad things, I'm not going to stop serving him. I can't be fickle like that. And then we're introduced to his three friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar. These three friends have known Job for a long time, and they travel to hear of his woes and struggles, and they all come to see him, and they can't even recognize him. And the kindest thing that these men do in this entire book, because we're going to see these guys actually not be the best of friends with Job. They're not going to be very good comforters. But the best thing they ever do for Job in his time of trial, they do in this chapter. They see him far off, they weep, and then they come down and they sit next to him, and they don't say anything. For 7 days, they just sit there with Job. And they don't say a word. And that, Job will later on say, that was a greater comfort to me than when you opened your mouths. Just to have you there as my friends was a great comfort. But after those 7 days, now we're going to begin to have a conversation that Job has with his friends. That will begin in chapter 3, and we'll take the bulk of the book. But that's next week. Job chapter 2, that's your Daily Cup for today, and we'll see you next week.